If you desire to walk in alignment with your purpose, to live a life of joy, abundance, and fulfillment, you've come to the right place. This is Sarah Locke, and welcome to Purpose Unlocked.
Hello, everyone. Today we are going to talk about something that I have been feeling uncomfortable and insecure about. And it's the fact that I want to be creating more content, right? And I want to have an engaged audience. I want a community. But in order to build that, I have to be showing up as myself. That's what all of the books say that were written by, these expert influencers. I've read Gary Vee's book, I've read Colleen Nichols' book, and I watch all of their content on how to show up and engage and be authentic. But here's the part that I struggle with because I don't think I would have trouble being myself on the internet. It's more so that I know that I'm really far from perfect, but I also am a Christian. I know that I should be holding myself to this impossibly high standard, which is living my life the way that Jesus did, the way that he wants us to love everyone and not judge people and all of these things. And I am so far from that. And I don't think I'm a bad person. I think I'm a pretty good wife. I think I'm a pretty good mom. I'm a good friend. And I think as an overall person, I'm doing pretty well, but as a representative of Christ, I lack a lot of things. So I'm just struggling with how do I show up as myself, even though myself is very imperfect and I should want to be better. And I also don't want to look like a super hypocritical person, right? Because a lot of people say that Christians are hypocrites because like they're supposed to be nice and perfect and living like this godly life, but like none of us are. Literally none of us. We all sin every day. So so where's the healthy middle ground? That's my question. I don't know what that is. And that's what I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find that for myself. Because if I wait until I'm perfect to show up, I'm never going to show up because that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm struggling with.
So I actually last night just watched a interview that Marcus Lemonis did. He was saying God gave you a talent, and you're supposed to be able to use the talent that he gave you to help the world and help as many people as you can. It actually kind of gave me more confidence a little bit because if that's your talent and if that's what God is calling you to do, go all in. So, like, that should give you more confidence and you should lean on that. Like, I realized, like, I inherently not a confident person and pretty introvert. But during my Bible reading recently, it stated, don't just greet your neighbors. Because isn't that what the Pharisees and Sadducees do? Like, that's not being special. That's what everybody does. Saying hi to the people that you know and that you're friends with. That was pretty convicting. As well as, okay, I can't find confidence in myself. And yeah, that's just not my inherent trait. My confidence comes from God. And just lean on God and what He's calling you to do and have confidence in, okay, if this is where God is leading me and this is what I'm called to do, then yeah, I'm gonna do everything I possibly can to help as many people or spread the message wherever, however I can.
I like it. Oh, no, I was just gonna say I think that you're using the Bible the way that it's supposed to be used, like where it really does a good job of highlighting where in your own life you need to make improvements. Um, I will say that sometimes reading the Gospels and hearing how the disciples reacted to Jesus makes me feel a lot better about myself.
Yes,
Because I'm like,
100%.
yeah. Because like I've said before, like when I compare myself to like normal people, I'm like, all right, I think I'm doing pretty good. when I compare myself to Jesus, I'm like, I failing miserably at a lot of the things he said to do in this book. Like a lot.
Hmm. Well, every single person in the Bible, even like the most famous characters and the biggest characters, including like
Mhm.
the disciples, David, Moses, pick whatever one, and they all had their flaws.
That's true. So
And
God does use very flawed people.
the saying goes, he doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called.
Oh, I do like that saying. Maybe as time goes on, I will become more qualified. So yeah, I think you're right. I actually asked ChatGPT this question because I was like, ChatGPT, how can I create content as a Christian when I'm really far from perfect, but I am supposed to be myself, but myself is not like a great representative of Christ. Anyway, so I asked ChatGPT like this whole like long-winded question because I was
Okay.
like, ChatGPT said that I should talk about the journey, like the improvement process, if you will, like what I'm improving on. But so many of the things that I need to improve are more so like internal than external. On the outside, people think I'm pretty nice because I, even though I'm not for everybody and everybody's not for me, and people annoy me, I don't just come out and say that. I'm not just straight up mean to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I should love everybody, but I have a hard time doing that. But I'm not out here like making a ruckus about it, you know? And I don't have a whole lot of patience, but I like try to keep it together. My husband would tell you I have no patience. I would tell you I have at least a little bit because when my baby's screaming, I don't go off the rails. I most of the time I try to like shh.
Yes, I've seen your progress.
Yeah. Yeah, that fruit of the spirit needs some watering on this tree. And I have improved. I'm glad that you reckon I'm gonna show Mark this podcast of improvement. So maybe that's another thing that I can talk. I just feel like most days I'm probably not making as much progress as I should be. Like most days are gonna be like, I cussed someone out in traffic again under my breath today for the third time this week. Like, you know what I mean? That's yeah, that's one of my pit one of my pitfalls is people that can't drive. That those people, they really bring out the worst in me.
Uh, you can take the girl out of Jersey, but you can't take the Jersey out of the girl.
Apparently. But the other day, someone blew through a red light and at an intersection where I was the first car about to go. And if I hadn't like stopped and looked and watched this person, like I would have gotten hit hard by a giant truck, mind you. And Kingston's on that side of the car. Like you would have killed me and my baby, you know? So yeah, I had some words, not to him. This is North Carolina. He was probably carrying. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna fight anybody out loud, but I will fight you from my car under my breath by myself.
Also, yeah, they can't hear you.
Yeah, see, so I'm not hurting anybody. I do afterwards try to think to myself, like, you know what? Maybe he was on his way to the hospital to see his dying grandmother's last breath. And because he blew through the red light and almost killed me, he was able to make it there in time. I then try to give people like the benefit of the doubt, making up some ridiculous situation in my
Oh, you're better than me.
mind. Well, you know that's actually something that I think is really interesting about like human psychology is that like if I cut someone off in traffic, it was because I merely made a mistake. But like if someone else cuts us off, we're like, oh my gosh, what a terrible person. There was one time I was merging into the other lane and I didn't see them. They were like in my blind spot and they like laid on their horn. And that was a genuine mistake. I was not trying to drive like a jerk. And then we like came to a red light together and I like looked over and I was like, they were like, it's all right. But
Aw.
yeah. Yeah, you have to realize some of us just make mistakes when we're driving, and then some people blow through red lights like jerks. To see his dying grandma in the hospital.
Or
Should be.
or drive on the shoulder. That's the one that gets me. When people drive on the shoulder. And,
Oh, so you would also like to enforce the law.
oh yeah, no, like me, when I see them coming, I will go half and half. I'll be half in and half in the shoulder so that they can't get past me. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
so you are our father's daughter.
Your time is not any more valuable than mine. We all have places to go, places to be. Wait your freaking turn.
All right, Paige out here enforcing justice. All right, that's funny. I don't do that.
What's funny is when they honk at me. They like
That
honk at me and get mad that I did that, and I'm like, I'm not the one that broke the law.
I'm not out here breaking the law. I'm out here enforcing it. Paige on patrol. I like it.
Yep. All right, we got sidetracked. Okay, so going back to just having confidence and leaning on God and his calling for your life, how do you distinguish between God-given calling and personal ambition?
That's a good question. I think it's something that I probably struggle with. So, to that point, I know that God has called me to start my own business and teach my courses and spread emotional intelligence. And I'm just trying to figure out what the best way to do that is. And I know that I feel called to that because He put multiple people in my life that have taught me all of these lessons. And I've had to go through a like really hard growth journey to learn everything that I learned about emotional intelligence and healing and growing and all of those things. So I want to teach those skills to other people. I want to pass all of that on. And everything has just been like, he really does put things in place. But when I was wanting to start my own business and my own podcast and those types of things, I was like, I need a nudge in that direction. And I prayed about it. And that Monday is when I got let go from my job. And they were doing mass layoffs, so they were letting go a lot of people. And after I prayed it, I also thought to myself, like, God, like, not that big a nudge, please. Like, I would like to not lose my job. That would be nice. And like, and then I did, and I was like, ugh. Like I kind of saw it coming. Like I prayed for it, right?
Yeah.
So then my word for that year, that like following year was obedience. Like I just needed to be obedient to what I felt God calling me to do, which was to start my own business. And then through that, then I also got pregnant. The good thing was I didn't jump right back into corporate America. I waited and I wound up getting pregnant like less than 2 months after my job had ended. And then because I had been let go of that job and because I didn't jump back in to like somewhere else in corporate, I have then been able to stay home with my son. So I was able to be home when I was pregnant and then be home raising him, which has been the biggest blessing because I would have never left that job. I loved that job. So I see God like putting all of the things, all of the pieces into place. And so I do feel called to start my own business and I feel called to be at home being a mom. There's just evidence in my life that that's what he wants me to do. I need to have my own goals and my own things in life, not just taking care of my husband and my baby, which I don't want it to sound selfish. Maybe it is selfish. Maybe I shouldn't care that it's selfish. I need things that I'm working on for me that are important to me. And so that is the business. And I really do want to help people and I do want to build a business. I do want to make my own money. And I just feel like God is calling me in that direction because I also know that these skills that I've learned, this course that I've created, I know that it can help people because it helped me so much. And that's why I'm so passionate about it because I really think that this could be life changing for the people that need it.
Yeah, see, so it's not selfish ambitions because then also like making money, I mean, that will help your family, you know? Like you said, you're going to be helping all those people and then as a result, yes, you will have income that then can help your family and your family's goals.
Yeah. So I think that, I guess your question was how to know whether it's ambition or God's calling. I think it's honestly a combination of the two. I think if God places something on your heart and you're just going to be like driven toward that thing, I think that so much of the time our ambitions are from God. And then there's just evidence in my life backing up that this is the path that he wants me on. And like I said, I don't know what the next step is because I don't know necessarily how to start that business, but I'm doing the things that I think are going to be just the most logical next step, right? I don't believe that God will illuminate the entire path ahead of us, but I do believe that He's going to give us those next steps. So for me right now, that next step is making my workbook and having completed my course. And I did teach it to a small group of women last year, and I'm hoping to teach that to more people this year if God allows me to do that, if the cards line up the way that He wants them to. We will see. I'm glad that we had this conversation. I think that it was reassuring to talk through and just to keep in mind that, yes, I am going to be an imperfect person. I am not a perfect representative of Christ, even though I call myself a Christian. And I think that that's just going to have to be okay. And I know that God uses imperfect people, and I know that I'm a very imperfect person. And I am confident that He will use me, and I just have to pray that I have the right words and the right things to share that are meaningful and helpful. So I guess that's the goal. That's the game plan. So if this has helped you, I pray that you share it with someone you love. Drop us a comment. What are some of the things that you have been struggling with, whether it's on your faith journey or just figuring out like, what is God calling me to do? What am I doing? So drop us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, count your blessings, love yourself, and stay fabulous.